All right, what's good, everybody? We're back again with another Castle Road Studios tutorial. I'm Cutta Classic, and I just want to go over some of my favorite and my top plugins that I like to use when I'm mixing. All right, so the first plugin I like to go with, especially when I'm dealing with vocals, would be tuning. Especially nowadays, a lot of people use some version of auto-tune just to make sure the vocals don't have to be cranked and you don't have to share or T-pain me out. But for how I like to mix vocals, I like to do a little bit of tuning, and my go-to tuning plugin would be the Waves real-time tune. I just think it has more of a natural feel, and I don't have to deal with any glitches. If I'm using any other brands, you know, sometimes it'll just crash my computer out. It's not because I have cracked versions, because I think there's just some bugs in some other plugins that haven't been worked out. So I choose my go-to to be Waves real-time tune. This is what it looks like. If you have Waves, the latest version of Waves, it comes in the update. I'll just kind of let you know what it sounds like here in just a minute, but here's your speed right here, your note transition. So that'll kind of just be like your retune speed and how humanized you want it or how robotic you want it, how hard you want it to work. You can set the key you want to right here. You also have all these different versions of harmonic tuning choices right here. You can set, you know, the range, the bass, baritone, tenor, alto, soprano. You can do chromatic, everything. And then you can also just choose the notes that you want to bypass, that you don't want the tuning to affect. If you don't want to do the whole group octave, then you can just deselect it and it'll just bypass whichever notes you want it to bypass by coming up here. Say if I wanted to bypass this G, just hit X, and so anything that I do on that, it would just bypass this one G. Now if I cut on the group octaves, it's going to do all the G's. Let's go ahead and play a vocal so you can kind of hear how it works. And here we go.
This time everything's not fine. This time truth caught up to your lies. Oh hey, hey, hey. This time gotta walk that line. Better walk that line.
So that's without the tune, right? So
this time,
now I want to.
This time you don't cross the line.
Now it's tuned, so now it's kind of sounding more in key. I actually like to track with this auto tune on, with this version of tune, when I'm tracking the vocals, because it's more of a natural feel to me.
This time, baby, this time you don't cross the line. This time, baby, you don't cross that line.
That's my favorite tuning plugin. My second one would be by Slate. It's called Meditum. And I'm gonna pull it up here in just a second so you can see what it looks like. Let's go mono. Bam, there we go. I can do a little bit more sound design with this plugin as far as adding like a doubler, making, you know, messing with the stereo image of the vocal and the tune. So this is what this one sounds like. Of course, here's your speed here, the amount. Let me set the key. What key were we in? E minor. So I'll come over here to E minor. We're locked in. I'll just try to match the real time. So we at 10 and 20. That's pretty much where I like to kind of hang out at, between 10 and 20. So let's just go to 10 and we'll work back.
Time everything's not fine. This time truth caught up to your lies. Oh hey, hey, hey. This time gotta walk that line. Better walk that line real fine. Oh hey.
Now we're cranking it.
This time.
Now let's back up to where it's more natural.
This time, baby, you cross that line. See, all you took it
Nah, like I said, you can mess with the stereo imaging of it.
Now I know who you are. Who knew you had such cold heart?
Kind of gives it a doubler effect.
This time truth caught up to your lies. Oh hey, hey, hey. This time gotta walk that line. Better walk
real
that
wide.
line real fine. Oh hey, hey, hey. This time, baby, this time you don't cross the line.
So yeah, you can break all kind of rules with this tune, so that's why I like this one. All right, another one of my favorite plugins I like to use. It's one of my go-to plugins. I actually like using it on vocals as well as I do like with drums and, you know, kicks and snares and hi-hats and claps and all that kind of stuff. But when I apply it to vocals, It's really more so a feel thing. I'm not doing anything real drastic. I'm just kind of soft saturating the vocal, and I usually kind of like using the Neve format of it. The Neve format of it, because I just like what it does to the vocals. So basically, if you know how I kind of use it in a way, I try to visualize what a Neve EQ looks like, and I use the toning for that. Say if we're around 3K, between 3 and 4K, if I'm on a Neve, that's probably in this area right here. And so I usually turn the mix all the way down, and then I put this on a bus. So as you can see, I used it on this vocal here. I also have some other saturation on that. I'll go over that plugin as well.
Time everything's not fine. This time Drew caught up to your lies. Oh hey, hey, hey.
So I'll bypass it.
Walk that line, better walk that line real fine. Oh hey, hey, hey. This time, baby, this time you don't cross the line.
It's a very subtle difference. Gives a little bit more bite. The mix is down. You can. I barely touch the mix here, but I am cranking the needle. Sometimes I'll go up and like soft clip in the red a little bit, just depending on what kind of energy I need from the record. But for this one, I kind of just kept it light. I just wanted to feel it just a little bit. This is the Decapitator. That's one of my go-to saturation plugins I like to use. Another one I like to use would be the Fab Filter Saturn 2. Really, you can just throw this on the vocal. That's not really complicated to know how to use. I usually start here at a clean setting, gentle saturation, and I just kind of let it do its thing, and then I tweak it from there. A lot of times I don't even have to touch it. It just does what I want it to do. So this is like my second favorite go-to saturation plugin. The third one is, you can use it as a saturator, but I also use it to color the vocal and add distortion and crunch to it, and that would be the Devil Lock by Soundtoys. Again, you can set the speed on how you want, the speed of the release on how you want it to work. I don't really crank it, not unless I'm really trying to crunch something, maybe like a snare, or I may just be trying to do some sound design with a kick, just trying to create something new. But like on vocals, I don't have the mix up real high. I just got it kind of doing some crunching, darkened it a little bit, and this is like another saturating or distortion plugin I like to use. All right, so another one of my go-to plugins I like using is a compressor, and it's very simple to use, and it's very effective. It puts the vocal right in your face, and that is the Arvox. And you can find it in waves. It's very simple. Once you pull it up, you pull this little knob down here, and you get you some compression going.
Time everything's not fine. This time Drew caught up to your lies. Oh hey, hey, hey.
You can squeeze the life out of a vocal.
Better walk that line real fine. Oh hey, hey.
We can back it up.
This time, baby, this time you don't cross the line.
And it brings that vocal right up front where you need it to be. And you can here's your makeup gain here. It's very simple. If you need to gate something out, you can just pull the gate up. In this case, I didn't need to do that, so I left it down. I'm just using it just as a compressor. Turning down my makeup gain, because it does get, once you start pulling on this compressor, it will put that vocal right up front in your face. So I try to control that with the makeup gain here. And that's the Arvox. It's that simple, straight to the point, but it's very effective. All right, so that's my top 5 plugins that I want to share with you today. If you want to find out more information on the plugins I like to use and the techniques I like to use, tune in to Castle Road Studios YouTube page. And yeah, see you next time.